Good morning, Course 2. Sorry I messed up yesterday and called you Course 1. Today we are looking at Lesson 90, which is mixed number coefficients and negative coefficients, found starting on page 618 in your book. All right. So when we have a mixed number coefficient, for example, if I have 3 1/3 x equals 5, okay? 3 1/3 x. I want to solve for x. I want to get x by itself. So in order to do that, I got to cancel out this 3 1/3. And the easiest way to cancel out the 3 1/3, turn it to an improper fraction and then multiply by the reciprocal, okay? So as an improper fraction, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10 over 3, x equals 5, okay? So now to cancel out 10 over 3, I simply multiply by the reciprocal, which would be 3 over 10. That cancels with that. That cancels with that, leaving me with x. But if I multiply this side by 3 over 10, I also have to multiply this side by 3 over 10. 5 is the same as 5 over 1. So I can reduce. 5 goes in there once, 5 goes in there twice. 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 2 is 2, 3 over 2, or 1 1/2. So over here I'm left with x equals 3 over 2, which is 1 1/2. Okay? So that's how you get rid of the mixed number coefficients to solve. Now let's take a look at example 2. 2 1/2 y 2 1/2 y equals 1 7/8. So now we got mixed numbers on both sides. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is turn those both into improper fractions, multiply by the bottom, add the top. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5 over 2y equals 1 times 8 is 8, plus 7 is 15 over 8. Okay, cancel this out. Going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is 2/5. Okay, and do the same thing over here times 2/5. Got to keep it balanced, so whatever we do on this side, if we multiply that side by 2/5, we got to do the same thing over here. Okay, that'll leave me with y on this side, and over here, what can I reduce? 5 goes in here once, 5 goes in here 3 times, 2 goes in here once, 2 goes in here 4 times. Okay, now 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 1 is 4, so y equals 3/4. All right, now what if I have a negative coefficient? Okay, if I have a negative number in front. So for instance, what if I have negative 3x equals 126? Okay, so to get x by itself, got to do the inverse operation. Right now it's being multiplied by negative 3, so the opposite would be divide by negative 3 and divide by negative 3. That'll cancel out, leaving me with x equals 126 divided by negative 3, so I'm just going to do 126 divided by 3, and my answer is going to be negative because these are opposite signs. When the signs are opposite, one's positive, one's negative, the answer is negative. If these were both negative, the answer would be positive. If they were both positive, the answer would be positive. If this was negative and this was positive, the answer would be negative. Okay? So 3 goes into 1 0 times, 3 goes into 12, 4 times 3 is 12. Subtract, I get 0, bring down the 6, 3 goes into 6. 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract, I get nothing, nothing to bring down. So x equals 42, but it's a negative 42. Okay? Now, let's combine that with a fraction. So what if I had negative 2/3 x, and for those who are following along in their book, this is example 3, equals 4/5. Okay, so again, dividing is the same. Well, we want to get x by itself, so we can multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal would be 3 over 2, and again, it's negative, so that a negative times a negative is a positive. So that will cancel out, leaving me with positive x. I don't want to be left with negative x. And then I have 4/5 times negative 3/2. So when I'm multiplying a positive and a negative, my answer is going to be negative. Okay, what can I reduce? 2 goes in here once, 2 goes in here twice. 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 1 is 5. So negative 6/5, or x equals negative 1 1/5. All right, why don't you take a look and see if you can do, let's do G and H. Okay, pause the video right now. Do G and H on your own. All right, let's check them out. So I got negative 10y equals negative 1.6. All right, so to get y by itself, divide by negative 10 and divide by negative 10. That'll cancel that out, leaving me with y equals negative 1.6 divided by negative 10. So negative, let's just do 1.6 divided by 10. Okay, 10 goes into 1 0 times, 10 goes into 16. 1 times 10 is 10. Subtract, I get 6. Annex is 0. Bring it down. 10 goes into 60. 6 times. 6 times 10 is 60. Subtract 0. Nothing to bring down. So y equals 0.16. Okay. And the last one, negative 2.5. And it's a positive because we had a negative divided by a negative. Signs are the same. The answer is positive. Okay. So looking at H, I got negative 2.5. W equals 3 1/3. Okay. So turn this into an improper fraction. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5/2. W equals 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10/3. Okay, multiply by the reciprocal, so I'm multiplying by negative 2/5. Negative times negative cancels out, leaves me with W, and I'm multiplying this by a negative 2/5. 5 goes in there once, 5 goes in there twice. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 1 is 3. So it equals negative 4/3, which is the same as negative 1 1/3. If you have any questions, feel free to call, text, email. I will be online from 9 till 10 tomorrow. Have a great day.